In a small town nestled at the foot of the Colorado Rockies, the shelter was no stranger to heartbreaking rescues. But nothing prepared them for Bella, a golden retriever, barely clinging to life. Animal control officers had found her in a backyard of a notorious puppy mill, where conditions were cruel beyond words. Her ribs jutted through her matted fur, and her eyes, dulled by pain and exhaustion, flickered with a haunting desperation. Yet amidst this fragile shell of a dog was a fierce protectiveness that stunned everyone who saw her. Bella had given birth to just one puppy, a tiny, trembling ball of fur, barely more than a week old. Most dogs would have lost their will to care after such trauma, but Bella refused to let go. She lay curled around her pup, shielding it from the world with a mother's undying love. Volunteers at the shelter whispered to each other, amazed by her behavior. "She's different," one said softly, kneeling beside the crate. "She's waiting for something ... or someone." Bella's eyes never left the shelter door, as if her gaze was reaching far beyond the cold walls and fluorescent lights. Weeks passed, and Bella's condition slowly improved. The shelter staff fed her nutritious meals and gave her gentle medicine. The puppy, whom they named Hope, began to grow strong, wobbling on its tiny legs and exploring the world with innocent curiosity. Bella, though weaker, grew calmer. There was a quiet dignity in the way she moved, a silent grace that seemed to hint at a story untold at the same time. In a nearby neighborhood, a little girl named Lucy Carter sat alone in her bedroom. She hadn't spoken a word since the tragic loss of her older brother in a car accident several months earlier. The silence in her home was heavy, a tangible thing that pressed on everyone's hearts. Her parents, desperate to help, had tried therapy, medication, and every suggestion the doctors made. But nothing seemed to reach Lucy. Lucy's therapist, Dr. Hernandez, suggested something new: animal-assisted therapy. "Sometimes words aren't the way in," she explained gently to Lucy's parents. "Animals have a unique way of connecting with people who've suffered trauma. They can reach places that language can't." That suggestion led Lucy's mother to the shelter where Bella and Hope waited. The first time Lucy walked into the room, the other children had run to greet the dogs with playful shouts and eager hands. But Lucy paused at the doorway, eyes wide, heart pounding. Her steps faltered, but something an invisible thread pulled her forward. There in the corner lay Bella, her golden fur still patchy, her eyes tired but alert. And by her side, Hope slept peacefully, a small, fragile life clinging to hers. Lucy didn't say a word. She simply stood and looked. Bella's eyes found hers immediately, lifting with a slow, deliberate motion. There was no fear in those eyes, only a calm invitation. Lucy's breath caught. For the first time since her brother died, something inside her stirred. She slowly knelt down, and without hesitation, reached out a tentative hand to stroke Bella's head. The dog's coarse fur felt warm and familiar beneath Lucy's fingers. Bella nudged her pup toward Lucy, as if offering a silent gift. The room fell quiet, the volunteers holding their breath. Lucy's lips trembled, then curled into a tentative smile, soft, fragile, but genuine. A volunteer whispered to a coworker, "It's like she's passing something on." Hope, maybe. Lucy stayed there, seated by Bella's side for what felt like hours, her fingers tracing lazy circles on the dog's head. Bella rested her chin on Lucy's lap, eyes closing in contentment for the first time in months. Outside, the sun dipped below the mountains, casting golden light through the windows, a quiet promise of hope, renewal, and a bond yet to be fully understood. Lucy Carter's world had shrunk into silence ever since the day her older brother died. The boy who once filled their home with laughter was gone, leaving behind an echo that no one could fill. After months of staring into empty rooms and refusing to say even a single word, Lucy had become a ghost in her own family. Her parents whispered desperately about her future, wondering if she'd ever speak again. Doctors called it selective mutism, a trauma response that locked her voice behind invisible walls. Her parents were hesitant when her therapist first suggested animal-assisted therapy. The idea of a dog helping Lucy speak seemed almost too simple, too hopeful to be true. But desperation had a way of opening doors. So, on a chilly autumn afternoon, Lucy's mother took her to the shelter, a place that felt foreign yet strangely promising. Lucy wandered through rows of barking dogs and hopeful eyes, her fingers tightly clutching her mother's hand. When she reached Bella's corner, everything slowed. Bella's eyes met hers again, steady and unblinking, filled with a gentle understanding. The dog was no longer just a rescue. She was a mirror to Lucy's pain. Lucy knelt beside Bella's crate and stayed silent, simply watching the dog and her tiny pup nestled in the straw. Slowly, Bella shifted her body and nudged her pup forward. The fragile life rolled gently toward Lucy's outstretched hand. A ripple of warmth spread through the room, the first crack in the icy silence that had gripped Lucy for so long. Each day after school, Lucy insisted on visiting Bella. The shelter became a sanctuary where no words were needed. She sat beside Bella, drawing pictures of the dog, the pup, and herself, holding the tiny creature close. Her drawings spoke volumes, bright colors breaking through the darkness she'd carried for months. Though Lucy didn't speak, the shelter staff saw a change. Bella, once protective and wary, now allowed Lucy to pet her gently. The golden retriever's tired eyes softened, and the small puppy, Hope, wriggled happily in Lucy's lap. It was as if Bella had silently chosen Lucy, recognizing in her a kindred spirit, a wounded soul who needed more than just a pet. One afternoon, Lucy's mother found a crayon drawing slipped under her bedroom door. It was simple but powerful, a child holding a puppy while a golden dog walked away toward the sun. Below, shaky handwriting read, "She gave her to me." That night, Lucy's mother sat beside her daughter, tears flowing silently. Lucy's fingers traced the letters of the message, her eyes wide but still quiet. Bella's presence had created a bridge between the girl's pain and a fragile new hope. The shelter volunteers began calling Bella the Giver, not just because she'd survived so much to keep her pup alive, but because everyone sensed she was offering something greater, a gift of love, healing, and connection. Outside, the air turned crisp, leaves swirling in golden spirals. Inside, the bond between the silent girl and the dying dog grew stronger with every visit. Lucy was still mute, but her eyes spoke a language of their own, one filled with wonder, trust, and a spark of life returning after so long in shadow. Then came the day when the shelter made a surprising offer. Would the Carters foster Bella and her pup? A chance to bring the fragile family home, if only for a while. Lucy's face brightened, her first real sign of hope. That night, as Bella and Hope settled into the Carters' quiet house, Lucy felt a warmth she hadn't known in months. The silence between her words wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with a promise. Bella, once the broken dog from the mill, was ready to give her last and greatest gift. Lucy's world was quiet, but with Bella and Hope in her life, it began to pulse with a new rhythm, one that didn't require words. Every afternoon, after the last school bell rang, Lucy raced home, her footsteps light for the first time in months. She needed to see Bella, to feel the warmth of the dog's tired fur and the softness of the tiny puppy nestled in her arms. Bella, though still fragile, had become fiercely protective, not just of her pup, but of Lucy. The dog's eyes followed the girl everywhere, her calm presence a balm to the storm raging inside Lucy's mind. When Lucy reached out, Bella welcomed her touch without hesitation. It was a silent understanding, a connection deeper than words, One chilly autumn day, Lucy sat by the fireplace, crayon in hand, drawing pictures of the three of them. The images were simple yet filled with emotion. Lucy holding Hope, Bella watching, over them like a guardian angel. Her mother found the drawings scattered across the floor, each one a little story of hope and healing. Though Lucy didn't speak, her mother noticed subtle changes. She smiled more, her eyes shone with a light that had been absent since her brother's death. Slowly, Lucy began whispering to Bella, not words, really, but sounds and hums that conveyed her feelings. Bella would respond with a soft nuzzle or a wag of her tail, as if to say, "I'm here." One afternoon, Lucy's therapist came to visit. She watched quietly as Lucy gently lifted Bella's head and whispered, "Mama." It was the first word Lucy had spoken in months. The room filled with stunned silence, then tears from everyone present. The bond between the girl and the dog was more than companionship. It was a lifeline. At night, Lucy would lie on the floor with Bella beside her, Hope sleeping curled up on her chest. The three of them formed a fragile family, bound by loss and healing. Bella's past suffering faded into the background, replaced by moments of peace and love. The shelter volunteers marveled at the transformation. Bella had given up so much to protect her pup now. She was giving her strength to Lucy. The dog's silent sacrifice was unfolding before their eyes. As Hope grew stronger, Lucy became more confident. She started drawing not just pictures, but stories of a brave dog who never gave up, a puppy named Hope who carried dreams, and a little girl who found her voice through love. One day, Lucy's mother found a small, folded note tucked inside one of the drawings. In shaky handwriting, Lucy wrote, "Bella gave me her baby so I wouldn't be alone." It was a revelation wrapped in a child's honesty, a message from the heart that echoed through everyone who read it. The Carters knew it was time to bring Bella and Hope home. Fostering them wasn't just about helping the shelter. It was about healing their daughter's broken heart. On the night Bella and Hope arrived, Lucy whispered softly, "Thank you." Bella's eyes glistened in the dim light, and she nudged Hope closer to Lucy's lap. It was as if the dog was entrusting her most precious gift, the future. The days that followed were filled with small miracles. Bella, who had been so tired and weak, began to find new energy. Hope explored the house with curious eyes, always returning to Lucy's side. The silence that once enveloped the Carter household was slowly lifting, replaced by quiet moments of love and connection. Yet, amidst the hope, there was an unspoken understanding. Bella's time was limited. The dog who had sacrificed so much was giving Lucy not just a puppy, but a legacy, a chance to heal and grow beyond her silence. And Lucy, in turn, was learning to listen, not just with her ears, but with her heart. The Carter household, once filled with silence, was beginning to hum with quiet hope. Bella and her pup Hope had settled in, and Lucy's gentle presence seemed to breathe new life into the weary dog. But something subtle and unsettling began to unfold. On their first night at home, Lucy carefully carried Hope to her bed, nestling the tiny puppy beside her. Bella watched closely, her eyes heavy but alert. Then, in a move that caught Lucy's mother by surprise, Bella nudged Hope gently toward Lucy's bed with her nose, almost like an offering. She didn't lie beside her pup as usual, but settled down by the door, guarding the room quietly. This strange behavior continued night after night. Bella distanced herself from Hope, no longer curling protectively around her pup. She ate less and slept alone in the corner, her once bright eyes growing tired. Yet she remained close to Lucy, licking her hand with a softness that seemed like a farewell. A shelter volunteer who visited the Carters remarked quietly to Lucy's mother, "It's like she knows she's not staying much longer." Bella's passing her last gift to Lucy and letting go. Lucy didn't say anything. She simply held Hope tighter, her eyes reflecting a mixture of sadness and understanding that no child should have to bear. Her silence was no longer empty. It was full of unsaid words, of unspoken goodbyes. Days passed, and Bella's health began to decline. The vet's visit brought somber news. Bella was in the late stages of kidney failure. The damage from years of neglect and stress was catching up. The family braced for the inevitable, trying to cherish every moment left with their brave dog. Lucy stayed close to Bella, often lying on the floor beside her, holding Hope in her arms. She whispered stories about her brother, about the shelter, and about Bella herself. Though her voice was barely above a whisper, each word carried the weight of healing and gratitude. One chilly evening, Bella seemed restless. She slipped away quietly through the back door while the family was preparing dinner. Panic spread quickly. Lucy's parents called her name, searching the yard and the nearby woods. Finally, Lucy's father found Bella lying peacefully in a field of wildflowers behind their house. Her breathing was shallow but calm. Clutched in her paw was a tiny sock from Lucy's room, a small token from the girl who had changed her world. The vet confirmed Bella had chosen her resting place, and that she passed with peace knowing that her pup was safe and her gift to Lucy secure. The family was shattered, but also filled with awe at the depth of Bella's sacrifice. That night, Lucy held Hope close, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. She reached out a trembling hand to Bella's empty spot on the floor, whispering the only words she could find, "Thank you." In the days that followed, the house felt emptier, but Bella's presence lingered like a gentle whisper. Lucy's mother kept finding little reminders of the dog's love paw prints in the dust, a soft rustle of fur in blankets, even the scent of golden retriever in the morning air at school. Lucy's friends noticed the change too. The girl, who hadn't spoken, was slowly opening up, sharing memories of Bella and the hope the puppy brought. Bella's final act wasn't just a goodbye. It was a blessing, a mother's ultimate sacrifice to heal a broken child. The dog who had given up everything for her pup now entrusted that precious life to Lucy, binding them forever in a silent promise. The family knew their lives would never be the same. But thanks to Bella's love, they were ready to face the future with courage, hope, and a puppy named Hope. The morning after Bella's disappearance, the Carter household was consumed by panic and worry. Lucy's parents and neighbors combed through the yard, calling her name in desperate whispers. Lucy, too young to fully grasp the depth of the situation, stood frozen in the doorway, clutching Hope as if the tiny puppy might vanish too. Hours passed, and hope dwindled. The silence in the house grew heavier, pressing on every heart like a storm cloud. Then, just as dusk began to settle, Lucy's father shouted from the edge of the woods behind their home. There, nestled in a small clearing of wildflowers, lay Bella. Her golden fur was dusted with earth, and her eyes were closed in peaceful rest. In her paw, grasped gently as if holding on to the last bit of warmth, was one of Lucy's tiny socks, soft pink with tiny stars. The one she always wore to bed. It was a heartbreaking, yet oddly beautiful sight. Bella had found her own place. To say goodbye, a sacred spot under the vast Colorado sky, surrounded by wildflowers and the whispering trees. She had made a choice. She had waited. The family gathered silently, their breath caught in their throats. Lucy knelt beside Bella, stroking the dog's fur for the last time. The pain in her eyes was immense, but so was the gratitude. Bella hadn't just been a dog. She had been a guardian angel, a silent protector who gave everything for Lucy's healing. The vet arrived quickly and confirmed what everyone already knew: Bella had passed peacefully, her final breaths filled with love and purpose. Kidney failure had taken her, but her spirit remained fiercely alive in the hearts of those she had touched. Lucy's mother wrapped Bella in a soft blanket, holding her close as the sky turned pink and purple with sunset. A family brought Bella home for a quiet ceremony, planting wildflowers around her resting place in the backyard, the very flowers where Bella had taken her last breath. That night, Lucy stayed up late, clutching Hope tightly. The puppy whimpered, softly, as if sensing the loss too. Lucy whispered stories into the darkness, stories she had never spoken before. Words tumbled out, broken and raw, but full of love. Bella gave me her baby, she said, her voice shaking, so I wouldn't be alone. Her parents listened, tears streaming down their faces. For months, Lucy had been silent. Now, in the wake of loss, she was finding her voice again. Bella's sacrifice had broken through the walls of silence. Unlocking a floodgate of emotion. At school, teachers noticed the change. Lucy's once withdrawn gaze was now brighter, her footsteps lighter. She spoke more quietly at first, then, with growing confidence. The puppy, Hope, became her constant companion, a living reminder of Bella's love and sacrifice. The shelter volunteers who had cared for Bella and Hope reached out to the Carters, offering support and gratitude. They marveled at the bond between the girl and the dog's legacy, the healing power of a love that transcended words. Lucy's mother began to document Bella's story, sharing it quietly online. Messages poured in from people touched by the Taylor dog who gave up everything for her pup, and a little girl who found her voice through loss and love. Though Bella was gone, her spirit remained a guiding light. Lucy's family vowed to honor her memory, carrying forward the gift she had given Hope in the face of despair. As the stars began to twinkle overhead, Lucy whispered to Hope, "We'll be okay now, because Bella showed me how." Outside, a gentle breeze rustled the wildflowers by Bella's resting place. Somewhere deep in the night, a single golden butterfly fluttered past a silent messenger of love, forever watching over the girl and her pup. Bella's funeral was held quietly. In the Carters' backyard, beneath a sky streaked with soft clouds and warm sunlight. Family, friends, shelter volunteers, and neighbors gathered to honor a dog who had changed their lives in ways no words could capture. The small wooden box, adorned with wildflowers, was gently lowered into the earth, while Lucy stood nearby, clutching Hope in her arms. The air was thick with grief, but also an unspoken reverence. For months, Lucy had lived in silence, her voice locked away by trauma. But on this day, as the shovels hit the soil, something extraordinary happened. Lucy stepped forward, knees trembling, eyes shimmering with tears and determination. Her voice, soft but clear, broke through the stillness. "She gave me her baby, so I wouldn't be alone." Those words, simple yet profound, struck everyone like a lightning bolt. The room fell utterly silent, as if the world itself was holding its breath. For months, Lucy's silence had been a void, a painful reminder of loss. Now, her words filled its space with meaning, with love, with a promise kept. Her mother sobbed openly, wrapping her arms around her daughter, grateful and overwhelmed. Friends exchanged stunned glances, tears glistening in their eyes. The shelter workers, who had witnessed Bella's journey from neglect to heroism, wiped their eyes quietly. One volunteer whispered, "Bella knew." She knew exactly who Lucy needed to be. The day's ceremony was more than a goodbye. It was a celebration of sacrifice and healing. Bella had not only given her life for her pup, but had given Lucy a chance to find her own voice again. The pup, Hope, nuzzled Lucy's cheek, as if to say, "I'm here now. We're together." That night, back inside the Carter home, the atmosphere was different. The house still felt empty without Bella's presence, but it was no longer heavy. With silence, Lucy's small voice floated through the rooms, humming a tune she had started to create. Her parents shared a look of cautious hope. They knew the journey ahead was long, but for the first time, They believed their daughter would truly heal. In the weeks that followed, Lucy's voice grew stronger. She began speaking to her teachers and classmates, sharing stories about Bella, about hope, and about how love could heal even the deepest wounds. Her words were sometimes shaky, but always sincere. Her therapist remarked that Bella's gift had opened a door Lucy had kept tightly shut for too long. The dog's quiet bravery had unlocked something precious inside the girl's heart. Meanwhile, the story of Bella's sacrifice began to spread beyond the small town. Social media posts from the shelter captured hearts across the country. Thousands of people shared the tale of the golden retriever who gave up her only pup to a silent girl, changing both their lives forever. Letters and messages poured into the shelter from strangers moved by the story, some sharing their own experiences with loss and healing through animals. The Carters were overwhelmed by the kindness and connection the story sparked. Lucy, once trapped in silence, had become a symbol of hope, a living testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. One afternoon, Lucy stood in front of her class, Hope by her side, and told Bella's story aloud for the first time. As she spoke, her classmates listened intently, eyes wide with wonder. When she finished, applause filled the room. It was a moment of triumph, not just for Lucy, but for Bella's legacy. Outside the window, the sunlight caught a golden butterfly fluttering softly on the sill before lifting into the blue sky. To those who knew the story, it was a quiet sign. Bella was still watching, still loving, and forever guiding the girl she had saved. With Bella's passing behind them, the Carters slowly rebuilt their lives. Lucy, once a silent shadow in her own home, was blossoming into a bright, confident girl. Hope, the puppy Bella had entrusted to her, had become her closest companion. A living reminder of the dog's sacrifice and the healing that followed. Every morning, Lucy and Hope walked to school together. She spoke more freely now, sharing her thoughts and feelings with friends and teachers alike. The shy, withdrawn child was becoming someone who inspired others through her story, a story of loss, courage, and love that transcended words. Lucy's therapist noted the transformation with awe. Bella didn't just save a puppy, she said one day. She saved a little girl's soul. The bond between Lucy and Hope was a powerful testament to how animals could heal emotional wounds that therapy alone sometimes couldn't reach. At school, Lucy volunteered to help with the Animal Care Club, leading efforts to rescue and nurture injured or abandoned pets. With Hope by her side, she guided other children who struggled to find their voices. Her empathy, born from her own pain and healing, became a beacon for others. The shelter where Bella had been cared for reached out to the Carters, asking Lucy to speak at local events about her journey. Nervous but determined, Lucy agreed. Each speech was a new step forward, a chance to turn grief into hope for families facing trauma. One rainy afternoon, Lucy stood before a crowd at a fundraising event for rescue dogs. Her voice wavered at first, but grew steadier with every word. She told the story of Bella, the brave golden retriever who had given up her only pup so Lucy wouldn't be alone. The audience listened, spellbound by the courage and love woven through her tale. When she finished, applause filled the hall. Lucy's heart swelled with pride and gratitude. Bella's legacy was alive, not just in hope, but in every word Lucy spoke and every life she touched. Inspired by their experience, the Carters founded Bella's Bridge, a nonprofit dedicated to connecting children with rescue animals to support emotional healing. The program paired kids facing trauma or anxiety with shelter pets, fostering friendships that could change lives. Lucy worked tirelessly to raise awareness, sharing Bella's story online and at community centers. Donations poured in, allowing the shelter to expand and save more animals like Bella and Hope. Through her advocacy, Lucy found a new purpose. She was no longer defined by silence or loss, but by the love she carried forward, a love gifted by a dog who had given everything God at home. Evenings were filled with laughter and quiet conversations. Lucy's parents marveled at the changes in their daughter, grateful beyond words for Bella's quiet heroism. One summer night, Lucy sat on the porch with Hope nestled in her lap. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves, and a golden butterfly flitted nearby, resting briefly on the railing. Lucy smiled softly, feeling a warmth that words could not capture. "Bella's still here," she whispered. "She never really left us." The bond between the girl, her puppy, and the dog who had given her a second chance was unbreakable, a testament to the power of love, sacrifice, and the healing magic found in unexpected places. Asterisk, the years that followed saw Lucy blossom into a young girl full of hope and purpose. The silence that had once enveloped her was replaced by laughter, stories, and a deep passion to help others. All of this was thanks to Bella's selfless act, giving up her only pup so Lucy wouldn't be alone. The Carter's nonprofit, Bella's Bridge, had become a beacon of hope for families struggling with grief and trauma. They matched rescue animals with children facing emotional challenges, believing in the healing power that Lucy had experienced firsthand. Lucy led many of the programs, often accompanied by Hope, now a spirited and confident dog who had grown into a symbol of resilience. One bright spring morning, Lucy was invited to give a speech at her school's annual assembly. Standing on the stage, with Hope quietly sitting beside her, she felt a wave of calm confidence wash over her. For years, speaking in front of a crowd had been impossible. Now she told Bella's story, the story of a dog who didn't speak but taught a little girl to find her voice. "I never knew how much love could change a person until Bella came into my life," Lucy said, her voice steady and clear. "She showed me that sometimes the greatest heroes don't use words. They use actions, sacrifices, and heart." The auditorium fell silent, every eye fixed on the girl who once couldn't speak. When she finished, the room erupted into applause, a thunderous celebration of courage, healing, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. After the assembly, teachers and students alike approached Lucy to share their own stories of loss and recovery. Some had struggled with silence, just like her. Others had found comfort in the companionship of pets. Together, they formed a community strengthened by empathy and hope. Back at home, the Carters continued to nurture Bella's legacy. Their house was filled with photographs of Bella and Hope, letters from families touched by Bella's Bridge, and the laughter of a girl who had rediscovered her voice. One afternoon, Lucy sat quietly on the porch, Hope curled beside her. A golden butterfly fluttered in, landing gently on the windowsill before soaring off into the sky. Lucy smiled softly, knowing that Bella's spirit was still watching over her. "Thank you, Bella," she whispered, "for giving me everything." Though Bella's time on Earth had been short and marked by hardship, her impact was immeasurable. She had given up her last gift so that love could grow anew. Through Lucy, Bella's story would continue to inspire kindness, courage, and healing for generations to come. The world may never fully understand the quiet sacrifices made by animals like Bella, but for Lucy, her family, and the countless lives touched by their journey, Bella was a hero whose love transcended words, a love that gave a silent girl a voice and a lost pup a home. And in that love, the room remained forever silent, only because sometimes words are not enough.